Today we're taking a look at the 4 best hitch options available for the 2010 Chevrolet Silverado. Here in the top we've got the Curt Class 3. This is part number 13322. Just below it, the Curt Class 4. This is part number 14301. And right below that, the Curt Class 5. This is part number C15323. And then here on the bottom, we're going to have our Draw-Tite Class 3. This is part number 75362. Now you'll notice all of our hitches are going to offer a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. Now you can see here with the Curt Class 3 and with the Draw-Tite Class 3, we're going to have the classic kind of style of round tube. When we get into our little heavier duty hitches like our Class 4 here and the Class 5, these have the square tube design. Now one big difference that I've noticed right off the bat, if we look at the Class 4, you can see that the receiver tube opening is below that main cross tube of the hitch. Whereas on the Curt 3, the Curt 5, and the Draw-Tite Class 3, they're all directly in line with it. So what that means to me is that this cross tube is actually going to be tucked up behind the bumper out of sight. We'll just have our receiver tube opening that's going to hang down below. So aesthetically, that's probably going to be the cleanest looking hitch out of the 4. The other ones we're going to see, this one we'll see from about here down. The Class 5 we'll see all the way across. That's the one we've got installed on our Silverado there now. And the same with the Draw-Tite Class 3. We'll see this cross tube all the way across. Now the Curt Class 4, the Curt Class 5, and our Draw-Tite Class 3, they're going to use 3 existing holes in the frame rail. The one on the outermost here is going to be one of the frame bolts. We'll pull that out. Or I'm sorry, one of the bumper bracket bolts. We pull that out, put our hitch up, put that back in, and then just add in 2 bolts in the pre-drilled holes. For the Curt, we're going to use that same bumper bracket mount, the hole just behind it, and then we've got 2 center connections here that we'll be adding in. Again, everything's pre-drilled. There won't be a big difference between installing this one and the other 3, but these really went in quick. There wasn't a lot of work to it. Everything's already existing there. You just put it in, bolt it up, and you're ready to hit the road. Now one thing the Draw-Tite's going to offer that I don't see on the Curt is going to be a small bracket that's been welded on. It's got 3 hole locations across there, so it really helps us out if we've got a bracket to mount our wiring or something like that. Now it's not as big of a deal in a Silverado as maybe some other cars, because typically they're going to have that factory 7-pole kind of plug in there that we can use. But if you're doing a 4-pole or you're doing a kind of a custom wiring installation, that might come in handy. Now our hitches are all going to have one thing in common. That's going to be the 5/8 diameter pinhole. Now these are going to work out great for any of the 5/8 diameter accessories. You want to match your class, of course, Class 3, Class 4, Class 5. Make sure it's rated for the kind of weights that you're dealing with. The one thing you'll see a little bit different on the Draw-Tite, it's going to have a double pinhole setup. The larger ones are standard 5/8 inch pinhole. The one just in front of it is a smaller hole. That's for use with the J-pin stabilization system. It'll come in and kind of lock everything out and get it stabilized. Now as far as safety chain connection points go, the Curt up here is going to have one of the smaller opening holes. It's kind of a plate style. I really don't think you'll have any issues getting safety chains connected to that. The Curt Class 4 is going to have more of a rolled steel style. I prefer the look of the plate styles, but you know, that's kind of a cosmetic thing, not really a mechanical thing. These are also really good for connecting safety chains. Now once we get into the Class 5 Curt, you know, it's an extra duty hitch, or it's a heavy duty hitch. So everything about it is going to be just that. It's going to be heavy duty. We've got really thick safety chain connection steel plate here. Nice large hole openings. We should be able to get just about anything connected there that we'd want. And then when we move down here to the Draw-Tite, a similar size hole, similar size spacing on the front there, just a little bit thinner plate than what you've got on your Class 5. This would be more comparable to what we see on the Curt Class 3. Now as far as weight ratings are concerned across the different hitches, for the Class 3 that we have here on the top, the Curt, and the Class 3 that we have here on the bottom, the Draw-Tite, the tongue weight ratings are going to be 600 pounds. So that's the maximum downward force we can put here at the receiver tube opening on either one of the hitches. The gross trailer weight rating, or the maximum amount of our trailer and everything that we've got loaded up, is going to be 6,000 pounds on the Curt, 6,000 pounds on the Draw-Tite. Now once we move into weight distribution setups, we're going to move up to 800 pounds tongue weight on the Draw-Tite and 8,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. We're going to move up to 1,000 pound tongue weight on the Curt, or a 10,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. Now the Class 4, of course, that's going to be a little stiffer, a little sturdier. This is going to offer us 1,000 pound tongue weight rating and a 10,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. Once this one goes to weight distribution, then we go to 1,200 pounds on the tongue weight and 12,000 pounds on the trailer weight. Once we get into the extra duty or the really heavy duty Class 5 Curt here, whether we're using weight distribution or not, we're going to have a 2,400 pound gross tongue weight rating. The gross trailer weight rating is going to be 16,000 pounds, and then when weight distribution is introduced, that goes up to 17,000 pounds. Now of course with any of the hitches, that's what they're capable of doing. We need to refer into the owner's manual of our vehicle, see what it's capable of, and we'll just go off of whichever of those numbers are the lowest. Now visually, a difference that we are going to see between the Class 5 and the other 3 hitches that we have here is going to be the coating. You can see here kind of a high gloss powder coat finish on the hitch, whereas when we look at the extra duty hitch, this is actually going to have a double coating on it. So we've got an initial protective coating that goes on, then a matte powder coat finish that goes right over the top. It really makes it look really nice. Now here's what that Curt Class 5 is going to look like installed on the vehicle. As you can see, we can kind of see that receiver tube all the way across like we talked about. Now as far as a few measurements that'll be helpful, from the center of the hitch pin hole here on our Class 5 to the outermost edge of the bumper, we're looking at about 2 inches. Once we get into our Class 4 hitch from Curt, that's going to move back about 1 inch. The Class 3 hitch from Curt, it's going to be back about 1/2 inch, so it's going to be 2.5 inches from the outermost edge of the bumper. And then for the Draw-Tite, it's going to be about 2 1/4. So they're all within about 1 inch of each other. In this situation, I don't think it's going to make a big difference one way or another. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, the highest one we're going to have is going to be the Class 5 here. That's going to be about 20 3/4 of an inch. Once we go to the Curt Class 3, that moves down to about 20.5 inches. On the Draw-Tite Class 3, it's going to be about 19.5 inches. And then on the Class 4 Curt, it's going to be about 18 inches. Now, that may vary a little bit depending on if you've got oversized tires or off-road tires, or you've got regular highway tread tires. So that may vary just a little bit, but from the center of the hitch pin hole, the outermost edge of the bumper, that's going to be pretty consistent across the board. Now that we've taken a look at the differences in the best hitches available for the Chevrolet Silverado, I hope this will help you out in making your buying decision.